Hare Krishna. We have now come to one of the most dramatic and unforgettable chapters of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, Vishvarūpa Darshan Yoga, the chapter of the universal form. When we hear Vishvarūpa, most of us imagine the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Pandavas and Kauravas standing ready, Arjuna on his chariot, and Krishna beside him as his charioteer and guide. For many chapters now, Krishna has been guiding Arjuna, explaining dharma, their duty, action without attachment, and how to live in this world without getting trapped by karma. This is what Bhagavad Gita is truly about, doing our duty in the right way. So we grow spiritually while living our normal lives. The conversations keeps deepening. Arjuna keeps asking sincere questions, and Krishna keeps revealing higher truth. And just like all the Upanishads, this dialogue is driven by question and answers. That is why the Bhagavad Gita itself is called Upanishad. The word Upanishad has a beautiful meaning. Upa means near. Ni means determination. And Shad means movement, progress, or transformation. So Upanishad is not just knowledge, it is a journey. And if we look carefully, we can see this journey happening in the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna began in chapter 1 with fear, confusion, sorrow. Arjun Vishad Yoga. Step by step, Krishna guided him through knowledge, action, renunciation, and finally devotion. By chapter 10, Krishna revealed something extraordinary. He said, "See me in everything that is best, strongest, and most beautiful." And Arjuna is now sitting near Krishna. Upa has happened, right? He's sitting next to Krishna. He's listening with sincerity and asking the right question. And in Upanishad, the Ni has happened, determination. Now comes the most important test. Is transformational happening? Is Shad happening? Are Arjuna's fears reducing? Are his doubts breaking? Are his attachment loosening? Because this is what Shad truly means, the destruction of ignorance, not destruction of the person. And now, after hearing Krishna's words, Arjuna wants more of the explanations. He wants more than the explanation, he wants experience. In chapter 10, Krishna gave the audio version of his glory. In this chapter 11, Arjuna asked for the video version. And that request changes everything. To help us remember this powerful chapter, let's use the simple acronym Rupa. Rupa is a Sanskrit word, means form, and this chapter is all about seeing Krishna's form in its most unlimited expression. So R is a request. This chapter begins with a very special request from Arjuna. Arjuna doesn't demand or challenge Krishna. He humbly asks, "If you think I'm qualified, please show me your universal form." And you, universal form. Krishna responds by revealing the Vishvarūpa, a form where the entire universe is seen within Krishna. Time, space, gods, warriors, planets, everything appears in that one form. P. Prayers of Arjuna. What happens next is beautiful. Arjuna is overwhelmed, sometimes amazed, sometimes frightened, and his heart pours out in prayers full of humility, surrender, and devotion. And a armed form. Finally, Arjuna sees the fierce, powerful, time-destroying aspect of Krishna, a form armed with divine weapons, showing that Krishna is not only the loving friend, but also the time itself, the controller of creation and destruction. So remember, Rupa, this is not just a vision for the eyes, it is a transformation for the heart. Right, let's start with our request. At the very beginning of this chapter, Arjuna makes a beautiful confession. He says, My illusion is now dispelled. After hearing everything in the last chapter, Arjuna is fully convinced that Krishna is the source of everything. He is no longer doubtful. He is no longer confused. So Arjuna's request is not out of the curiosity, and it is not out of doubt. With great humility, he asks Krishna, "You have explained how you are present everywhere, in every living being, in the entire universe. Now I wish to see this with my own eyes." Notice how respectfully Arjuna speaks. He says, "If you feel I'm eligible, if you think I can handle it, then please show me the divine universal form." This teaches us something very important. Spiritual vision is not demanded, it is requested. And it is shown only when the teacher feels the student is ready. Arjuna also makes this request for another reason. He wants to establish once and for all what it truly means to be God. Not through words, not through magic tricks, not through a vision that no ordinary being could ever show. So this chapter begins with humility, surrender, and a sincere desire to see the truth, not for ego, but for understanding. Universal form. Now something extraordinary happens. Before showing the universal form, Krishna gives a gentle warning to Arjuna. Arjuna, with these ordinary eyes, you cannot see my universal form. So Krishna blesses Arjuna with the Divya Chakshu, the celestial eyes, the special spiritual vision. Only then Krishna reveals his Vishvarūpa. And what does Arjuna see? Sanjay described it for us in breathtaking detail. Arjuna sees a form with countless mouths, countless eyes, countless faces, anek vakra, anek netra, all directions are filled. He sees dazzling divine ornaments, celestial weapons, garlands, radiant clothes, and a fragrance that seems to fill the entire universe. The form is beautiful, majestic, and also terrifying. Everything is there, all living beings, all planets, the past, present, and future, all existing at once inside Krishna's universal form. Sanjaya struggles to describe the brightness and finally gives an example. If hundreds and thousands of suns were to rise at once in the sky, that light might resemble the splendor of the universal form. Kids, imagine this. Not one sun, not 10 suns, thousands of suns together. Wow. This vision teaches us something very important. Krishna is not just in the universe is within Krishna. Everything exists inside him, yet he still remains the loving charioteer standing next to Arjuna. That is the mystery and the majesty of the universal form. Prayers of Arjuna. Now comes the heart touching part of this chapter. Arjuna's prayers. After seeing the universal form, Arjuna is completely overwhelmed. Why wouldn't he be? The same Arjuna who was confidently asking questions earlier now folds his hands, his voice trembles, and his eyes are wide with awe and fear. He begins to describe what he sees. O Krishna, I see all the demigods within you. I see Lord Brahma seated on the lotus. I see Lord Shiva. I see sages, serpents, warriors, and all beings, all inside your body. Children, imagine this for a moment, the entire universe inside one form. Arjuna says, You have Countless arms, countless bellies, countless mouths, countless eyes. Your form shines like a blazing fire, like thousands of sun rising together. At first, Arjuna is full of wonder, but slowly his feeling changes. Now he noticed the fearful side of universal form. Sees huge mouth, terrible teeth, and the warriors rushing helplessly into them. He sees the sons of Dhritarashtra, Bhishma, Karna, and even soldiers from his own side being crushed between the teeth of time. Arjuna says, "O Krishna, seeing this form, my mind is disturbed by fear. Even the demigods are frightened. So am I." Then Arjuna asks a powerful question: "Who are you? And what is your mission?" And then Krishna replies, "I am time, the great destroyer of the worlds." This is a shocking moment. Krishna tells Arjuna all these warriors are already destined to die. You are only my instrument. Stand up and fight. Hearing this, Arjuna begins to shake. Now comes the most touching part. Arjuna suddenly remembers this supreme lord. I treated him like an ordinary friend. He says, "Oh, Krishna, I joked with you. I called you casually. Hey, Krishna. Hey, Yadava. Hey, friend." Sometimes alone, sometimes in front of others. Even if I ever disrespected you, please forgive me. And then Arjuna gave three beautiful examples, which even children can understand. Just as a father forgives his child, just as a friend forgives a friend, just as a husband forgives a wife, "Oh Lord, please forgive me in the same way." This section teaches us something very important. God is infinitely powerful, yet infinitely merciful. He accepts love even when it comes with mistakes. And devotion is not about fear alone, it is about relationship. So, after seeing the universal form, Arjuna realizes one thing very clearly: majesty without intimacy is overwhelming, but intimacy with Krishna is the greatest blessing. That is why, after all these prayers, Arjuna will soon beg Krishna, "Please return to your gentle two-armed form." And that brings us to the final part of this chapter: armed form. So, in this final section of chapter 11, Arjuna has seen enough. Overwhelmed, trembling, and filled with awe, he now makes a very heartfelt request to Krishna. He says, "Please withdraw this terrible, terrifying universal form. Please show me your familiar, beautiful Shama Sundar, the four-armed form with conch, disc, club, and lotus. And finally, your two-handed form." Krishna immediately responds. He withdraws the Vishvarūpa and reveals his sweet two-handed form, holding the flute. The moment Arjuna sees this form, something changes. His fear disappears, his mind becomes calm, his heart feels safe again. Arjuna says, "Now I'm peaceful. I'm back to my original state." Krishna then makes a very powerful statement. This beautiful personal form is extremely rare. Even demigods long to see it. And Krishna concludes the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Only by Ananya Bhakti, pure unmotivated devotion, can I be seen, known, and truly understood. Not by strength, not by intelligence, not by fear, only by love. With this, Krishna completes the divine revelation, and Arjuna's heart is finally steady. What Let's have a bonus reflection from this chapter. What we truly witness in chapter 11 is not just a vision, it is a journey of the heart. First, Arjuna experiences wonder. How magnificent, how infinite. Then comes fear, seeing time, destruction, and unstoppable power of God. And finally, peace. When Krishna returns to his gentle personal form, Arjuna feels safe again. This teaches us something very important. The universal form shows Krishna's power, but the two-handed form shows Krishna's heart. God may be infinite and all-powerful, yet he chooses to become personal, approachable, and loving for his devotee. And that is the deepest message of chapter 11. With this, we conclude chapter 11, the universal form. This chapter shows us how Krishna truly is infinitely powerful, yet infinitely loving. Arjuna realizes something profound. The highest relationship with God is not fear, but friendship, love, and surrender. And now, what comes next is very special. If chapter 11 showed us who Krishna is, then chapter 12 will show us who a devotee should become. It answers a very practical question: which type of devotee is most dear to Krishna? Chapter 12 is all about pure devotion, pure love, and Krishna's endless mercy. I invite you to continue this journey with us. Until then, keep chanting Hare Krishna,